Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. It's like in Warlord, the Stash. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday. I don't know, what day is it? Is it Wednesday? It's day 11 of Spooktober. And boy, oh boy, do we have something spicy.
Why is it spicy?
Do we have the spiciest meatballs around, baby? Let's get into it. Here's our old friend Pacer, which is a way to access court documents. I'm currently logged into the Utah court. This is the case number that I have saved in here. This points to benefactor suing Wright Thurston. Let's run the query. We're going to go to History and Documents, run the query. Now, we've covered a lot of this. We got more details to go into, but we got to talk about what just happened. For the record, today is the 11th of October, day 11 of Spooktober. Filed and entered on October 9th. Order on the motion for TRO. For those of you that don't remember, benefactor filed a request for a temporary restraining order, a motion for a TRO, a temporary restraining order, which would restrict and put a freeze on alleged assets that were stolen, allegedly, by Wright Thurston. He gave all of his reasons why, and then there's been a bunch of back and forth between benefactor and Wright Thurston, claiming this, claiming that. We went over a lot of it, a lot of dirt, a lot of laundry being aired out, none of which I would argue is good for the shareholders, which is what these two suits are actually about, the shareholders, and how they're being negatively affected by one or the other party. Or in my opinion, they're being affected negatively by both parties. And I think both parties should be removed, as well as anyone else that's complicit in this. But I'm not a judge, nor am I a jury. Now, let's go ahead and see what this is. We're going to click on it. Now, I'll give you a hint. I've already downloaded it. Here it is. Now, I'm going to upload this to the Google Drive file that I have. It's going to be in the description below with all the documents from this so that you guys don't have to pay for it. Because I'm just a nice guy like that. I'm going to move me over. Give me a second. All right, we have from the District of Utah, United States Districts Court, we have benefactor versus Wright Thurston, both on the behalf of Gala Games, i.e. blockchain game partners, i.e. the shareholders. Memorandum, decision, and order. Look at this big word right here, ladies and gentlemen. Denying plaintiff's motion for preliminary relief. Dun, dun, dun. Presiding Howard C. NIELSON, Jr., United States District Judge. So, quickly summating this, benefactor brings the shareholder derivative action on behalf of BGP, which does business as Gala Games, against defendant Wright Thurston, asserting Mr. Thurston stole millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency tokens from Gala Games. Mr. Schermeyer requests a temporary restraining order, TRO, and a preliminary injunction freezing certain digital assets that he says can be traced to the alleged theft, ordering Mr. Thurston to provide an immediate accounting of those assets, and permitting expedited discovery. The court denies this request. Oh no! Benefactor didn't get what he wants.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Benefactor and Thurston are the two directors, large shareholders of Gala Games, company that administers a blockchain-based gaming infrastructure. Among other things, Gala Games oversees distribution of cryptocurrency called Gala Token, which players can trade with one another or use to make purchases and win the company's game. The dispute arose after Mr. Thurston moved 8.6 billion Gala tokens, allegedly worth approximately 130, out of digital wallets to which both Mr. Schermeyer and he had access, and into which he only had access. Benefactor maintains the Gala tokens were company property and therefore calls this theft. Mr. Thurston contends he owned the tokens and thus was merely moving what was rightfully his. Although Mr. Thurston moved the tokens on February 2021, Benefactor represents that he did not discover what happened until that April. Mr. Schermeyer then moved the remaining tokens into his wallet, which Mr. Thurston did not have access, and began tracking the tokens that Mr. Thurston had. More than a year later, in July of 2022, Benefactor noticed that Thurston had begun moving tokens out of his private wallets, an activity that allegedly continued for the next several months. Benefactor represents that he was concerned that Mr. Thurston was moving tokens from private wallets, where he could track them, to centralized exchanges, where he could not, and that Mr. Thurston might precipitatively liquidate these tokens, causing the value of the Gala tokens to plummet. At the end of 2022, Mr. Schermeyer began developing a new cryptocurrency token, Gala V2. His plan was to replace all the original Gala tokens except those Mr. Thurston had taken with Gala V2, which would render worthless any of the tokens Mr. Thurston had taken but not yet sold. Huh, that's interesting. Huh, oh, Benefactor's such a good guy. Oh, he did it for the community. Oh, I fucking told you. Benefactor rolled out Gala V2 in May of 2023. Although Mr. Thurston may have liquidated as many as 3.5 billion Gala tokens before the rollout, going forward, he could no longer do anything with the remaining 5.1 billion now outdated tokens he had taken. The parties then engaged in unsuccessful settlement negotiations until Mr. Schermeyer filed this action at the end of August. Preliminary injunction relief. Whether a temporary restraining order or preliminary injunction is an extraordinary remedy never awarded as of a right. Such relief is the exception rather than the rule, and will be granted only if the movement's right to relief is clear and unequivocal. So this was the whole thing. When he filed this TRO, he had to prove unequivocally that all of his points were valid. And that was one thing I brought up before. If one or two of these things is not true, then he can't freeze these assets, particularly if we don't know 100% that those are actually Thurston's assets. A party seeking such relief must establish that he is likely to succeed on the merits and that he is likely to suffer irreparable harm in the absence of preliminary relief. So he has to prove that Benefactor and Gala Games would be irreparably harmed by this, that the balance of the equities tips in his favor, and that an injunction is in the public interest. So we talked about this again. One of the things that Thurston claimed is that these aren't mine, so if you freeze them, you're hurting someone that has nothing to do with this lawsuit. Among these requirements, the single most important prerequisite to a preliminary injunction relief is a showing of probable irreparable harm. Well, what does the word irreparable mean? In case you're wondering, let's look at it. Irreparable means an injury or loss impossible. Let's zoom in on this. Impossible to rectify or repair. So let's look at that again. Let's look at this wording. The most important prerequisite to preliminary injunction relief is a showing of probable irreparable harm. And irreparable means it's impossible to rectify or repair. So he's saying if he were to liquidate these tokens that he allegedly stole, there would be irreparable harm. And I think the judge saw through that and said that there's no irreparable harm here. So what if he sells the tokens? Gala sells tokens all the time. That's not irreparable harm. A party's harm is irreparable when the court would be unable to grant an effective monetary remedy after a full trial because such damages would be inadequate or difficult to ascertain. So if he said he stole $151 million worth of Gala, let's say it was. If Thurston can show I've got $151 million right here, I can pay them, then there's no irreparable damage. And since that's the most important thing, guess what? Denied. Further, a party seeking preliminary release must show the mere possibility of such harm. Rather, he must demonstrate the irreparable injury is likely in the absence of an injunction. So it's not just that it could happen, it's that it's likely to happen. And the point is, he waited so long to do this. There goes that argument that it's likely to happen, because why did he wait so long to do it if he was trying to maliciously hurt the company? The party seeking injunctive relief must show that the injury complained of is such imminence that there is a clear and present need for equitable relief to prevent irreparable harm. Meeting these stringent requirements is not an easy burden to fill. Meeting these stringent requirements. There's a reason why they have these, because this is an extraordinary measure for the court to have to take. Thus, before the court will even consider the merits of Benefactor's claims, the balance of the equities, or the public interest, Benefactor must first demonstrate that absent preliminary relief, he will likely suffer an irreparable injury, harm for which damages could not compensate. This he has not done. Boom. So again, the most important thing is that he shows irreparable injury, and he hasn't done that. At the outset, the court must consider Mr. Schermeyer's request for preliminary relief against the backdrop of the nearly 2.5-year delay between he first discovered the alleged theft of the Gala tokens and when he finally moved for a TRO and a preliminary injunction. This is one of the things that I brought up when I went over Thurston's argument. He brings up, why did he wait 2.5 years? That's way too long. If someone steals your car, you don't wait 2.5 years. Someone breaks into your house and robs you, you don't wait 2.5 years. You call them right away. He didn't do that. The general proposition, delay in seeking preliminary relief cuts against finding irreparable injury. To be sure, delay is but one factor in the irreparable harm analysis, yet undue delay can still weigh heavily against a party seeking preliminary relief. After all, such relief is generally granted under the theory that there is an urgent need for speedy action to protect the plaintiff's rights. 2.5 years is a long time. It follows that delay in seeking enforcement of these rights tends to indicate at least a reduced need for such drastic and speedy action. As the 10th Circuit put it, delay undercuts the sense of urgency that ordinarily accompanies a motion for preliminary relief and suggests that there is, in fact, no irreparable injury. So again, someone steals your cell phone, you call the cops. Someone steals your car, you call the cops. Someone gets in a wreck with you, you call the cops. You don't wait 2.5 fucking years, benefactor. I wonder why you waited that long. Oh, I wonder. Plaintiff's delay belies any irreparable injury to their rights, per the Utah Gospel Mission versus Salt Lake City Court. Here, benefactor's delay in requesting emergency injunctive relief undercuts his argument that he urgently needs that relief to avoid a likely, imminent, and again, irreparable harm. What does irreparable harm mean? It means an injury that is impossible to rectify or repair. By his own admission, benefactor discovered Mr. Thurston's theft in April of 2021, yet he did not seek preliminary relief from the courts until September 2023. That's 2.5 fucking years. Mr. Schermeyer could have involved the judiciary at any point during this 2.5 years, but chose not to do so. Why does he want to hide his tax returns? Because he's doing shady shit. So why did he wait? So he could try and cover his tracks. Benefactor argues that his delay in filing suit was justified because he was hesitant to provoke Thurston in any way for concern that he might liquidate or dissipate the stolen Gala immediately, which he asserts could have caused the Gala Games ecosystem to collapse. Really? Really? You worried about the ecosystem collapsing, huh? Let's go to 1 year. Yeah, I don't see it collapsing, bro. I don't see it collapsing. This is when it happened, by the way, allegedly. So where's that collapse at? Where's that collapse at? I don't see the collapse. I don't see the collapse. I don't see it. But Benny's own reply brief cites a host of communications that belie any notion that he was hesitant to provoke Thurston. So here we go. Benefactor's own reply cites a host of communications that belie any notion he was hesitant to provoke. So it's saying, no, Benefactor, you were fucking with it, which we saw in Thurston and Benefactor's replies where he shows screenshots. By Benefactor's own admission, within hours of learning the alleged theft in April 2021, he confronted Thurston, demanding he move the Gala back to the company's savings wallets. 3 months later, in July, Benefactor confronted Thurston again, sending him a text message stating, "You have 8 billion Gala that are company reserves and some of it moved today. Why?" And that December, still more than 9 months before this suit was filed, Benefactor sent Thurston another text message demanding that he stop selling the company Gala, that he needs to send the funds to the company bank account. 2 days later, Benny and his employee, Jason Brink, both messaged Thurston yet again about continuing sales and alleged theft. In short, the record does not support Benny's assertion that he waited 2.5 years to file suit because he was worried about provoking Mr. Thurston. So why did he wait 2.5 years? The record does, however, suggest a different reason for the delay. Benefactor did not bring the action promptly upon learning of Thurston's actions, either the initial transfer of the tokens of the wallets or the subsequent movement of those tokens, because he was engaged in self-help. Boom, baby. Boom, baby. Boom, baby. Oh. Do it for me, daddy. Do it for me, daddy. Oh, whoa. Look at this. Oh, he was engaged in self-help. Oh, Benefactor only cares about himself. How many times have I fucking said that? How many fucking times have I said that? He only cares about himself. Fuck. I like this judge. I want to take this judge out to dinner. I want to take him out to fucking dinner. This guy right here. Woo! Woo! Fuck yeah. I love this sentence because he was engaged in self-help. Oh, suck on it, daddy. Shortly after discovering the alleged theft, Benefactor says that he went into damage control mode. He moved the remaining Gala tokens to wallets under his control and then began tracking the $8.6 billion that Mr. Thurston had taken. Finally, in May 2023, Benefactor rolled out a new version of Gala tokens that, in his own words, stopped the bleeding because Mr. Thurston could no longer use any of the remaining 5.1 billion tokens that he had not already liquidated. It thus appears that Benefactor delayed recourse to the courts until the emergency was contained and the risk of further harm largely averted. Yet, the purpose of a preliminary relief is not to remedy past harm, but to protect plaintiffs from irreparable injury that will surely result without its issuance. So because Benefactor did his own thing and not talk to the court, he can't get his injunction.
Oh, let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Further, it is well settled that simple economic loss does not, in and of itself, constitute irreparable harm, because such losses are compensable by money damages. So if you claim that I stole $151 million from you, I can just pay you $151 million and we're even. See how that works? In this case, not only has the alleged wrong already occurred, the asserting injury resulting from that wrong is an economic loss. Benefactor says his company's cryptocurrency tokens were taken and he wants them back. Further, the asserted loss is limited, specific, and readily ascertainable. What does ascertainable mean? It means you can get it. You want to see? You want to see what it means? Discoverable, determinable. There you go. I knew that word. Given the rollout of Gala V2, Mr. Thurston cannot liquidate any more of the tokens that he took. So BENE's request order will serve only to ensure he can recover the value of the 3.5 billion tokens that have already been liquidated, assuming, of course, that he prevails on the merits of his claims. Even so, Benefactors invokes the court's statement in taking the property of generally constitutes an irreparable injury that will justify an injunction. But that case concerned tangible property, specifically vehicles, and is expressly recognized that a different rule governs claims involving non-unique, that is, fungible property. You know, the thing that Gala sells claiming it's non-fungible? You know, fungible. You know what fungible means, Faz? Since you think dollar bills are non-fungible, even though they're fungible tokens. Remember that? You remember that, Faz, when you said that? That was fun. While some property, like a particular parcel of land or a specific vehicle, may be unique and have subjective value, making it difficult to adequately compensate with damages, fungible property, for instance, currency or stock shares sold on the open market, present no such difficulties. And cryptocurrency tokens are the epitome of fungible property. Their entire purpose is to provide an analog for traditional currency, and they are traded on public exchanges with posted conversion rates to the dollar. Oh, baby, we're getting dirty down here in the South. We're getting real dirty. We're getting so damn dirty. Oh, baby, getting dirty in this. Well, I'm having a great time. So, true, a plaintiff's economic loss may still be irreparable if he can show the defendant will not have the money to pay for the loss of the trial. So regardless of whether it was personal property that's unique or money, if you can show that the person that you allege stole this from you can't pay you back, then that would qualify as irreparable damage because he can't pay you back for what he allegedly stole. For instance, preliminary injunctive relief might be justified if the defendant were facing imminent insolvency, bankruptcy, and the injunction would preserve assets that the plaintiff could recover after a trial on merits. Benefactor appears to argue along these lines, citing a smattering of district court opinions for the proposition that cryptocurrency poses a heightened risk of asset dissipation that justifies an order of injunctive relief. First of all, my man used the word smattering. You want to look at the word smattering? A slight superficial knowledge of a language or subject. Ooh, read that again, ladies and gentlemen. My man just fucking whipped his dick out and slapped it on Benefactor's forehead. He said, "You little bitch, you little blithering idiot. You fucking coming at me, a motherfucking district court judge? You coming at me? You coming at me, son, with your slight superficial knowledge of a language or subject? You little bitch." He just whipped his dick out and slapped it on Benefactor's forehead. Fuck you, Benefactor. Slight superficial knowledge of a language or subject ass bitch. Fuck you. Get back here, green screen. I ain't done with you yet. That judge just said, fuck you, son. That's a fuck you line right there. Citing a smattering of district court opinions for the proposition. Smattering. He slights us smattering, boy. He said, fuck you. That's what he said. That's such a good line, dude. I want to take this judge out for a drink, man. Fuck yeah. But to the extent Benefactor correctly characterized these decisions, the court finds them unpersuasive. Under controlling super court precedent, a plaintiff seeking preliminary relief must show that irreparable injury is likely in the absence of an injunction, not merely that such injury is a possibility. It may well be the case that cryptocurrencies present heightened dissipation risk. For instance, cryptocurrencies may rapidly become lost or untraceable. The speed and potential anonymity of cryptocurrency transactions. Yet, just because it's easy for a defendant to dissipate assets does not make it likely that he will do so. It's important. Innocent until proven guilty, right? Just because you can do something doesn't mean you're going to do something. Could I go jump off of a cliff? Yes. Does it mean I'm going to go jump off of a cliff? No. More critically, even if the particular Gala tokens that Mr. Thurston took and allegedly liquidated are difficult to trace, that is of little consequence. As discussed, cryptocurrency tokens are fungible and easy to value. To show that he is likely to suffer irreparable injury, Benefactor must therefore demonstrate that Mr. Thurston would likely be unable to pay an award of money damages after a trial. Even assuming that the missing Gala tokens will never be recovered, Benefactor has not provided any evidence that Mr. Thurston lacks enough other resources to compensate Gala Games for its alleged losses, or that Mr. Thurston is dissipating those other resources. Absent such evidence, the court concludes that benefactor cannot show irreparable harm, for as a Second Circuit has previously explained, insolvency may render otherwise compensable harm irreparable, only where the plaintiff shows that the risk of insolvency is likely and imminent. So once again, benefactor has failed to show likely and imminent threat. For the foregoing reasons, the plaintiff's motion for a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction is denied. Is denied, baby. Is denied. Incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. Denied. Zoom in on that bitch. Denied. 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 Oh, this feels so good. I didn't read this motherfucker. Just want you to know. I didn't read this motherfucker, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. Oh, it's so ordered. It is so ordered by my man, Howard C. NIELSON Jr. Let's check out my boy. Let's check out my boy. Let's check out my boy. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Look how smug that dude is, boy. Look how smug this guy is, boy. Look my man right there, boy. Look my man. Slapping his dick on benefactor's smattering ass forehead. Woo! Fuck you, benefactor. Woo! I need some water. Fuck. My boy taking his dick out, slapping it on benefactor's forehead. Shout out to Howard C. NIELSON Jr., United States District Judge, telling benefactor to go fuck himself. I love it. That's honestly the best fucking line. Where is it at? Fucking smattering, bro. He hit him with the smattering. Hit him with the smattering. Now, what does all this mean? What does this mean? Well, let's talk about it. This is just the temporary restraining order. This is just the injunction that benefactor was trying to file against Thurston to freeze the assets. This is not the two actual lawsuits. Nowhere in this does it dispute that there was theft, because it's still alleged. They haven't proven that it's theft yet. However, they have proven that there's no need to freeze the assets, and this is a hit to benefactor's case. It's not the end, right? Benefactor 100% can still win the lawsuit, but at the same time, this is a win for Thurston. This is a big win for Thurston. So where do we go from here? Ready to put your tinfoil hat on? All right. Tinfoil hat time. All right. This is the distribution info. Okay? So these are the founders nodes, right? Now, we know this is benefactor, and we know this is Thurston. If we search this on Etherscan, take this to OpenSea. Take this to OpenSea. Look, 5CF91A9, right? 5C5F 91A9, right? This is benefactor's wallet. So this is Thurston. Obviously, we know that from the number of nodes they're running. So again, tinfoil hat on. This was the 7th. All right, so this is the 7th, right? We acknowledge this is benefactor and this is Thurston. We got 6995 and 6988 online. Let's go to the next day. October 11th. 6995, 6990. Once again, benefactor, Thurston. Okay? Next day. This is the 9th, which in case you're wondering, that's when the smattering happened. So the 9th is an important day. Benefactor is right here with only 6996. Thurston, they have the exact same number on. Both have 6996. So benefactor added one more node over 1 day, over 2 days, or 3 days, excuse me. Thurston went from 88 to 90 to 96. All right, let's check the next day. The next day, after the denial, all of a sudden, benefactor has all 7,000 on, and Thurston still has 6,996. Now, why these fluctuate, I don't know. We'll go over what I found in FAS in a second, but we'll finish the point. Today's the 11th, right? Let's go to the 11th. Huh, that's interesting. Huh, there's benefactor with 6,995, but Thurston's got 0 online. Huh. That's weird. Why would Thurston's nodes just suddenly turn off? That's interesting, wouldn't you say? That's interesting, wouldn't you say? So everything's a day behind, apparently. So this is actually for today. Okay, so this is the distribution for tomorrow. So this is based off of today. So technically, the day after the injunction, Thurston's nodes go all offline. And then Benny's got none on and Thurston have none on. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So did they come to an agreement? Or did Benefactor realize how shady it's going to look if he just turns Thurston's off? Again, tinfoil hat on, right? So just wanted to share that with you. Now, we're going to look at Faz Discord real quick. All right, today at 5:19 a.m., 14K nodes turned off. Titan, that sure is an odd number. I'm sure they're all off. I have to check mine for the 22 Gala. So again, showing what's off. Looks like the automated script spoofing node activity either crashed or got shut down by a reason. I hope nobody really believes Eric or Wright has ever set up a single server to run a node. It's not necessary as all are pure ping machines. You can simply create a script emulating the nodes. Gotta claim it's with an IP check, but this check doesn't even exist at all. Even if it would, one could line code to use a proxy and to send the request over a proxy. Gala thought it's a very clever solution and nobody will ever notice, but you know, there are also other advanced coders who see this low-level tactic straight. There exist maybe even other people who never even paid for a server but decided it's cheaper to write a script. That's interesting as well. Showing distribution. Wonder if this affected distro. I can't be bothered converting the times. Distro the day before. Remember the good old days? Backstory to the Gala scam. Somebody shut down the spoofing script and that's it. Told since day one there are 14,000 hidden nodes owned by Gala, so it shouldn't be something new. 20% more on average for a real node owner, $7.22 per day per node. Vulture sent something the other day, sent a mail saying that services have problems. Looks like Chicago's not fixed. Maybe some nodes running there. We'll see later if they jump again. Major FUD, but that'd be interesting. One of the recently laid off turns off a script or modified code. Oh, by the way, we've got that juicy detail to talk about. Looks like Eric left 7K of his nodes on last night. So are both off tonight, another 100-gallon distribution. Do we have proof 7K are off? All right, keeps dropping. Not sure it's a good or a horrible thing. I understand people don't like the idea of the founders having 14K nodes they got for free, but on the other hand, I always saw the flip side. A significant stake in nodes meant they had self-interest keeping nodes and their output valuable, i.e. aligned with regular people who bought nodes. If they magically either don't want the output from the nodes anymore or even sell the nodes at all, then the significant amount of alignment, however small to moderate it was, is gone. There's even less interest in keeping the nodes relevant. I think the last node vote shows that the company has already parted with the best interests of node owners. Obviously, the owners of the company don't need their nodes in order to benefit from the company ecosystem. But to me, having the founders own a significant stake in the node ecosystem is better than having zero stake in the node ecosystem, even if the priority isn't the best interest of owners. Some interest is better than zero. Now, for the juice, let's find the juice. All right, we've got some good juice here from Ghoul Crypto. The market's feelings on Gala over time is depicted by a screaming groundhog. I'm sorry for the bucks, but this quote is from an all-hands meeting in 2022. I want everyone to know that we have enough in our war chest to pay for everyone's salaries for the next 10 years. I always liked Bucks. She was nice and seemed sane. We have enough in our war chest to pay for everyone's salaries for the next 10 years. I got word that Gala, led by Benefactor and the Terminator, Mark Skaggs, a.k.a. Paladin, the guy that's been doing games for 27 years and he's going to save Townstar but then ruined it, laid off a ton of people yesterday. Is it not possible that an angry ex-employee messed up the script? Or is it possible that Benefactor just turned off Thurston's nodes? Is it possible that they came to an agreement to turn them both off? Don't know. You guys will be much better off without the carousel of insanity that is Gala Games, music, and film. Anyway, I found a video of their portfolio of games. Gotta love it. All right. So, final thoughts. Fuck you, Benefactor. Got those for you. Now, Again, this was all allegedly. Benefactor could still win his lawsuit. Wright Thurston could still win his lawsuit. Once again, I think unequivocally, the two lawsuits are in the benefit of the shareholder. That's what this is about. It's about the shareholders. And I think unequivocally, both parties have shown that there is a lot of problems at the top. And everyone that's complicit in all of these activities that have negatively affected the shareholders need to be removed. There should be no one safe from the purge. For the sake of Gala Games, the company's future, and more importantly, the sake of the community at large, I actually care about you. I want to see you benefit. I want to see you do well. I think it's time for some people to go. I think it's time. I think it's time. That said, denied. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'm going to sleep so good tonight. I want you to know this. I'm going to sleep so good tonight. Oh, got rain on the tin roof, baby. Oh, go sleep good tonight. Got links down below to these documents. If you want to check them out yourself, got links to my Discord. Easy way to get a hold of me is Discord if you'd like to join that. We've also got links to help support the channel. I appreciate all of you being here. I hope you're doing well. Happy Spooktober, day 11. I'm going to be streaming later. I'm going to edit this video. This is going to come out tomorrow, so it's going to come out on the 12th. I'm going to upload a short in a second. That'll be my video for the 11th. I love you all. I hope you're doing well. I'm liking Warlord. The Stash! Have a good day. Bye-bye.